for my pillow. Oh, that's actually not bad. Hey friends, welcome back. I am Jason Salyer and it is summertime. It's hot, it is sweaty, the ground is wet. It's probably going to rain. There's bugs all over the place and they're crawling on your face in the middle of the night. So I like sleeping in a hammock as much as possible during the summertime. However, equipment fails sometimes. What do? Build ourselves a raised platform bed. So I've been sleeping in a hammock before and I've had it rip right down the middle. It just completely fail on me in my time of need. If I planned on sleeping on the ground, in the hammock, and suddenly that's not an option and I don't really have a backup plan, this is my backup plan. I'm gonna build a raised bed. I need 4 forked sticks and I just need a couple of trees that are relatively close in proximity. And I'm gonna build myself some sort of raised bed up off the ground. The tricky part is getting these forks that are gonna support your bed at the right length. Now, if I had 3,000 feet of cordage, I could just tie this pole to the side of the tree, 2 poles to the sides of the trees, and be good to go. But it would take a lot of cordage to do that, and I generally don't carry that much with me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do it without cordage at all. You don't need any. All you need is 4 forked sticks like this one. I want this thing, you know, a couple feet off the ground. So I'm gonna give it there. I know that it's gonna be sitting in that notch. I'm gonna make it a little longer. You can always shorten it, but you can't stretch it and make it longer. You don't have a stick stretcher. Yeah. So now my fork stick here is going to support one side of one of my poles, and that's going to keep me very secure off of the ground. And as long as you lean it properly against the tree like this, there's no way, because your weight is going to be pushing straight down, and that's going to be because it's angled off to the side, it's going to be driving you into the tree, the pole into the tree, and it's going to be driving that fork stick into the ground at that angle. Little trick for those of you that have compression straps on your pack like this one, just turn them around backwards and wrap it around the tree, clip it up and strap it tight, and that keeps your gear nice and dry up off the ground. I tell you what, I'm not much of a bandwagon jumper, you know, but this silky saw, I mean, a few years ago, everybody started getting these silky saws, and everybody was talking about how awesome they were, and you weren't a real bushcrafter unless you weren't a real survivalist unless you had a silky saw. And I was a little bit late to the game because I just, again, don't jump on many bandwagons, but I tell you what, this thing is the ticket for crafting stuff like this, for firewood production. There's really nothing better. This is the big boy. It's about the right size. It's small enough where you can just fit it inside of your pack. It fits down in there nice and easy. It's pretty light, but man, it does some serious cutting. And your height, we can adjust our height a little bit just by kicking these legs out a little. So if you don't get it perfect, it's not that big a deal. We can always move them in to raise it up or move them out to lower it down. And for all you tree huggers out there that always seem to feel the need to inform me that I'm killing trees by doing this, yes, I am aware of the fact that these trees all belong to me. I bought this property for the purposes of doing things such as this. So I'll do with them what I choose. However, I'm very selective. Conservation of my forest is more important to me than anybody else. So yeah, I don't want to clear cut my land of all the trees, obviously. So what I do is I selectively harvest them. So if I want this fork right here, what I do is I pick trees that have kind of split out at the bottom right here. So I've got multiple trunks coming out of the same tree. So if I kill this side right here, this tree continues on living. Some people. So one guy got pissed off at me the other day because I caught a fish, and I let the fish flop on the ground for a second before I picked it up, and I was so cruel as to show the fish to the camera before dispatching it humanely. I mean, listen, I feel bad for guys. Listen, I feel bad for guys that never got to go fishing when they were kids, and their dads never took them hunting, and they never took them out into a wild place and exposed them to these types of things, and they never taught them where their food comes from. And it makes me really sad, to be honest with you. I really pity those individuals, and I'm hoping that I can reach a lot of you guys. Hopefully, if I'm speaking to you and your dad never showed you how to tie a hook on a line, I'm sorry about that. And I'm hoping, perhaps I can spread some of that knowledge and share some of that knowledge with you, and teach you how to respect wild places, and teach you how to respect wildlife while utilizing it to your advantage, because we're part of this. We are part of the environment in which we live. It's not like we're separate. It's not like it's humans and wildlife. We are part of the environment, and we need to respect it. We need to cherish it. We need to conserve it as much as possible when needed, but we also need to utilize it. We need to use it, and by using these resources effectively and efficiently, I think we gain more respect for them. I always like to darken the stumps a little bit. Makes it show up less, walk through here, no one would really notice that you were there. Look at that. That is a huge chunk of pine sap that has no doubt fallen from this unhealthy looking pine tree right there. That'll come in handy here in a little bit. That. Free chocolate. Those are good. Next time you're in the woods and you see that on the ground, you should try one. Big spider web. Big spider web. Here's a cool trick maybe you've never seen before. If you ever had a hard time cutting a piece of wood with a saw because it's just moving all over the place, the wood's pinching the blade, all that kind of stuff, just wedge it between two trees like that, pull it towards you like this, put some pressure on it, pull it by pulling it towards you, and then it'll hold it for you. It's like a vise. So now we have basically a bed frame right here supported by fork sticks only. There's no cordage holding these things up. And if they're angled correctly, like that, they'll be pushing. When you get on it, when I put my weight on this, that force pushes the log against the tree. And then obviously that's that fork stick into the ground, and it's not gonna go anywhere. Now that I've got my framework done here and supported by my fork sticks, I could cut a whole bunch of cross pieces, and it would look kind of like that. And I would just lay a whole bunch of those cross pieces on there, and that would be the platform that I'd lay on. But something that would save me a tremendous amount of time and effort would be having something like a poncho or a tarp. Even garbage bags would probably work for this. I've never tried that, but it would probably work. But a poncho, if you got a spare one like this, you can make yourself an improvised hammock. You could probably string up a poncho in make it an actual hammock, but that's putting a lot of stress on it, and I feel like you'd probably damage it. Never done it, never tried it. If you've got experience turning a poncho into a hammock, using it and not destroying it, let me know. Now, in order to prevent excess damage to my poncho, I need to get rid of any knobbies like this. So I can just hack those off and try to smooth it out. Anything that feels kind of sharp, sort of like that, just smooth that out a little bit. Get rid of anything that looks pokey. The last episode of Survival Dispatch News, if you haven't seen that yet, check it out. Chris does a really good job on those. He had Casey Deming from Georgia Bushcraft on there, and what they were discussing is kind of the relevance of bushcraft in a modern world. And I thought it was a pretty cool discussion because a lot of people kind of dismiss bushcrafty type skills because, you know, we've got all these things, we've got all the gear, and we could buy all this stuff, but stuff fails, equipment fails all the time. And if you don't have some sort of background in crafting things out of natural materials, you might be spending a pretty miserable night in the woods. So as opposed to, you know, if my hammock should fail me, as opposed to just sleeping in the mud, leaned up against a tree somewhere, I could perhaps build myself some sort of improvised hammock. Push that under. Like that. There we go. So I've just wrapped my poncho around a couple times. Like that. I can pull this a little tighter. Now it'd be nice, now that I'm on this thing, it'd be nice if they were further apart, my poles were further apart. But I tell you what, this is still a whole heck of a lot better than laying on the wet, soggy, muddy ground. Let's say you were in a swampy environment, a marsh-like environment. This would be a whole lot better than laying on that. And if you do have some sort of sleep pad, putting that on there will make it really, really nice. And like I said before, I could have just laid logs across here, and then I could have taken a whole bunch of leafy boughs, leafy debris and whatnot, and made myself a sort of a soft-ish mattress out of natural materials. That would work as well. Now, if I had a spare tarp, I could string that up above it, another poncho, whatever it is. I could rig myself up some sort of roof above this, and you kind of get the picture. It's actually not terrible. I could probably sleep in that. I do have a gift though. My gift is that I can sleep pretty much anywhere at pretty much any given time. But I take my pack off the tree if I wanted to, and I can put that under my head, give myself a pillow, sleep on your side. It's probably the way to go in a shelter like this. If my trees were a little further apart, I could stretch my body out even further, but I think you guys get the gist. This is gonna keep me off the ground, keep me out of the bugs, keep me out of the mud and the muck. And mosquitoes, in a lot of places that I've been, the mosquitoes really like the ground level. They will devour you if you sleep on the ground, but if you elevate yourself just a tiny bit, you get chewed on a little bit less. For my pillow, oh, that's actually not bad. Now, is it as comfy as what your hammock would have been? No, of course not. This is not going to be as good of a night's sleep as I would get in my hammock, but it's a whole heck of a lot better than sleeping on the wet ground with nothing. All right, friends, thanks so much for watching. Really do appreciate it. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Can't wait to see you on the next one. Check out Survival Dispatch Insider. Go to survivaldispatch.com and become an insider. You can get behind the scenes content, stuff that nobody else sees. You can get access to us individually if you want to ask questions, all that kind of good stuff. Gatherings that we're going to be doing as a group, as Survival Dispatch Insiders, all this really, really cool stuff. So check out survivaldispatch.com and become an insider. Thanks, guys. See ya.